The Eagles' final preseason game was not exactly thrilling, but we did get to see Cooper DeJean making plays despite some upset fans on Twitter. Plus, hear why Nolan Smith is really starting to concern me after his performance on Saturday, and exactly which players earned a roster spot versus the Vikings and the ones who are going to be sent home. I'm Thomas Mott. This is a Thomas Mott Show. The final week of the NFL preseason, it's usually pretty boring, but the Birds' 26-3 home loss versus the Vikings was, if you didn't watch it, you're lucky, about as boring as one game can be. Sure, it's not as bad as watching the Cowboys' backup quarterback Trey Lance throw 5 interceptions in their final preseason game, but the Birds' offense was really bad no matter who was at quarterback this time, so let's actually focus on the important stuff from the entire day, mainly as a whole. Although before we get into that, big shout out to Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie, who announced at halftime the Birds will be inducting LaShawn McCoy into the Eagles Hall of Fame this year on November 3rd. Can we get 1,000 likes on this show for maybe the Eagles' most dynamic player, maybe of all time, getting his call into the team's Hall of Fame? Okay, back to the roster though. Again, not everybody played, but it's who didn't play that actually means a lot for the Eagles going forward. How about James Bradberry, for instance? He did not play yesterday, which, if you watched who was actually on the field for Philadelphia, basically everybody out there was actually fighting for a roster spot except for Cooper DeJean, Kenny Pickett, Tanner McKee, and yes, Nolan Smith. The fact that Bradberry was given the day off all but guarantees he's gonna make this roster, and I know it's probably gonna upset a lot of you in the comment section. I'm right there with you, but again, it's all but guaranteed. I guess we just gotta hope that either he doesn't need to play during the regular season or shows a lot more than he did during training camp and the first 2 preseason games. Now, of course, Bradberry wasn't the only Eagle not to suit up, as all of the Bird starters this time did not actually give it a go, so naturally Nick Sirianni was ready during his post-game press conference to try and assure everybody that 0 reps for the first-team offense, it's not going to create any issues versus Green Bay on September 6th. Let's just cross our fingers.
And I get it. That's everybody's job is to say, what if should they have played, should they not have played? You know what? I have to make the decision, and I get that. I understand that. I have to make the decision that I feel is best for our team, and if I feel our team is ready, and I felt that. I felt like we were getting a lot of good back and forth. Again, hard practices out there for 2 hours. Which has been more than what we've been, and so I felt like we got enough work to be ready to go, and I'm comfortable where we are leading into this week, into this upcoming, I guess, couple days before we get into the game week mode, but I'm comfortable where we are and looking forward to some more good practices.
Now also, it's a brand new week, so let's do a brand new giveaway. How about this NFL Shop Nike Philadelphia Eagles t-shirt? Honestly, I might buy myself one of these. This thing's pretty sick. Either way, all you gotta do, be a subscriber, and then this time, go down below to my pinned comment and vote for me for Eagles Fan of the Year. Again, just follow the little link down below. It takes you to the NFL Fan of the Year page where you can submit me as somebody you'd like to vote for to maybe be the Eagles Fan of the Year, which would be a massive deal for this channel. A lot of you guys have already voted. Once you do, go back in my comment section and type in I voted to tell me that you did. I also get an email confirming that as well. And one person who subscribed and voted is going to win this t-shirt later on this week. Now, one Eagle who did play yesterday was pass rusher Nolan Smith, to the point that he was still in the game with 1:25 left in the second quarter. And honestly, that's not a good sign for the former first-round draft pick in year 2 out of UGA. Again, it's the 3rd preseason game. No starters are actually playing, and he's going against 3rd-stringers and 4th-stringer offensive tackles for the Vikings. He's been asked to play a lot during the preseason, and Bleeding Green Nation pointed out that that's not a good thing, saying, quote, Nolan Smith playing at all in this game, let alone with 1:25 left in the second quarter, just doesn't seem like a great sign for how the coaches view him. Notice how the Eagles were very cautious with a lot of other players who figured to contribute this season. Yeah, well, Smith was not included in that group. It's not like Smith even made a great impression against lesser competition. He finished with 1 assisted tackle and 0 other stats. Now, of course, I want the best for Nolan Smith. I like Nolan Smith. I praised the pick last year, but I'm hoping he's maybe just a late bloomer, kind of like how BG was when he first entered the league. But if Vic Fangio, let's just be honest with ourselves, thought Nolan Smith was going to be a major contributor on this defense in 2024, he would not have played him this much in the preseason. Like, I'm not hating, I'm just telling it like it is. Still, though, you can't hate Nolan Smith's positivity post-game even after his lackluster performance.
Man, still show him, I'm still the same person who I am, and I love playing ball. You ain't got to beg me to play or ask me to play. So that's what I wanted to do for a dream. Just like if y'all wanted to be reporters, y'all die to get in the locker room as soon as we all ready. So why wouldn't it be the same when it comes to playing ball? Man, I got really comfortable, but it's mostly our scheme that I just like playing, man. Our scheme, how we play, how we getting all firing out, man, and just using our hands and get to play and have be loose.
Now, speaking of young players with high hopes, Saturday was our first look at Eagles' second-round defensive back Cooper DeJean, who lined up exclusively in the slot, as we expected, and honestly, he was not as bad as Twitter is making him out to be. For instance, first off, he was a little delayed in this nickel blitz, not too bad, and then bumped his receiver also a little bit too late on the following route, causing a flag which did negate an interception. Not great. But then he was really good in coverage here for this incompleted pass in the end zone, like he's step for step, just a nice throw, and made a really good tackle on the run in the second quarter, and then showed off the tackling ability again with this very solid TFL off the edge. Remember, DeJean has not played in any sort of football game since November of 2023, and basically missed the entire preseason. Again, he didn't wow my socks off yesterday, but he was not as bad as a lot of people on Twitter are saying he was. Still though, as DeJean himself explained, again, the point right now at least, there's a lot of work left to do. We weren't expecting Hall of Fame in preseason game number 1.
Great. Okay. Be back out there. I was excited. A lot of adrenaline rolling. So it's good to be back out there. A lot of things to learn from. Still, a lot of things to learn from. You go back, watch the tape. Just a couple missed tackles that I remember. So I just gotta be better. Gotta stick on guys better as well. But there's lots to learn. We got a great group of guys to learn from as well.
Now, some other positive standouts included Tristan McCollum, who led the team high with 9 tackles, probably the best DB, maybe the best defensive player on the field for the Birds. Eli Ricks also looked decent. Does he make the roster on Tuesday? You guys let me know down below. Also, edge rusher Jahan Dotson, he was really good, and he might be the player who played himself onto the roster during the final preseason game. Now, not as great. Joseph Ngata, not the best day, had a rough drop here. Tanner McKee, boy, he came way back down to earth. Did not look like the first Tanner McKee from the couple of preseason games the last couple of weeks. And also, cornerback Zach McPherson probably sealed his fate with yet another below-average performance. Now, again, the Eagles didn't enter Saturday's game with a ton of open roster spots, and so not a ton of winners or a ton of losers. Jahan Dotson, we'll talk about him in a second, kind of takes another roster spot away, makes things more difficult for everybody else. But Teron Jackson, McCollum, they're probably the 2 big winners from Saturday's matchup. It stinks, but it's how the NFL works. Like, very few people actually make NFL rosters, the final 53. And I think Kenny Pickett, who obviously is, despite another lackluster day, he explained it very well, what it's like watching some of your friends get cut during his post-game press conference.
Tough business, man. It never gets easier. You become, it's crazy in 5 weeks. A lot of these guys become really good friends of yours, and you may never, get a chance to play with them again or see them for a while. So, it's a tough business. Just, really appreciative of, to be here and to have a chance to experience, this camp and be around these guys and, had a lot of fun, so it's tough.
Now again, in an Eagles game where the Birds scored 0 touchdowns, there aren't many highlights worth showing you. So how about I show you Jahan Dotson taking the field with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith before warm-ups for the very first time. Now obviously he didn't play, but he did have a post-game press conference where he was holding a football, which I've not really seen a newly traded player actually do after a preseason game. But either way, I love the fact that Dotson did confirm that he isn't going to take the trade personal with the Commanders until, of course, the Eagles play Washington for the first time, which, by the way, Jahan, it's Thursday, November 14th in Philly. Go ahead and mark your calendar. Still, though, the newest Eagle did emphasize that this team is unlike anything he's ever been a part of. Listen to this.
We have a lot of people who can make a lot of plays, so it's going to be fun. I've never, in all of my years of playing, I've never been on a team with this much talent. So I'm not only excited to play with them, I'm excited to learn because we have a lot of great guys in the locker room from top to bottom. So I'm really excited for the opportunity.
Now again, the final cut day is Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. You go from 90 plus down to 53, and then you add back in a bunch of practice squad players. I'll cover it all here on the channel. Be sure to go ahead and subscribe. Get on the giveaway as well. Lots of stuff happening as really now, after we get past cut day, we set our sights on Green Bay. I'm pumped. I know you guys are too. I'm Thomas Mott. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.